Very warm welcome to you, Triple Fudge Sugarloaf with extra glaze. Nice to see you here. The Bitcoin community, they have a very strong bragging point. What is it? They say, we are still here when Satoshi is gone. I've spoken about this before. I want to repeat it. It's so important. We're still here even though Satoshi's gone. They use that as their number one message. And what's funny is when I hear it, it reminds me they are also playing the game. They're just trying to convince everybody that they're not playing the game. The game is to see how far you can take it. We're all on a journey. We've got to onboard now the politicians. Then we've got to onboard the big pension funds. Then we've got to onboard the government and finally the US Federal Reserve. But they're running out of final bosses. With all of us, we've got plenty of final bosses. You got the corrupt SEC, the corrupt Department of Injustice. You got the Bears. You know what I mean? We got so many bosses. It's great. It means we're enjoying the game. So much room to grow. PulseChain and Hex community can learn from it too. You know, the chaining community, many other communities can as well, but they just don't have effective marketing. Everybody believes that they're going to be the righteous ones who are going to invent the next wave of technology, and everybody's just going to come flooding in. Newsflash, no one cares about your code and your nerdy tech. Not everybody has a pocket in the front pocket. Not everybody wants to put a pen in there either. They want to put other things, like cigarettes and bubblegum. Other people, they were telling me, right, this is very important, okay. Richard Hart is inactive and we're still building. And when they told me this, I say, wait a minute, that's my talking point. Because it's true. Richard Hart's inactive, we're still building. You understand, friends? So you got to learn from these things of the past, because eventually this whole deal is going to be done. Eventually everything's going to be, we're going to push through it, and then we're going to move on to the next issue and the next one and the next one. It's the game doesn't end. The game doesn't end. If you go back to the early Bitcoin days, they were not playing the game of, okay, how do we convince El Salvador to adopt the currency so we can defend them? They were playing the game of, I just want to get in and make money. That's the game they were playing. Then it became the game of, wait a minute, this is FU money. This is actually stick it to the big man. The rich man who's whipping the poor people, the poor men and women, squirrels and pet ducks, whipping them with a barbed whip. That's how everybody felt. That's why they're like, you know what? I've got nothing to lose here. I'm just going to buy. That's the momentum that was behind it. Then you had John McAfee, who said, if you guys don't buy this, I'm going to eat my willy. Rest in peace, John McAfee. That was the early majority phase. You see how the story kept changing? We're like, uh-oh, John's going to eat his willy. And then it became cybernetic hornet's nest. Bitcoin is digital New York real estate. That's how the narrative changed. And it was like Elon saying, we're going to go to Mars and Bitcoin's going to be the currency. That was all a load of crap. Literally dribbling poo-poo out of their mouths. Caca, okay? That's so filthy. You know, they were lies. That was just all speculation. So why do they do that, friends? They do that. So the thing is, okay, everybody who wants to buy within the next 6 to 12 months, they will buy an asset if the news is good enough. But when they start talking really long-term visions, they're trying to grab even further demand buys, further yield curve buys, people further down the line. So he's trying to grab people who might consider buying in 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, that further out. They're trying to grab all that demand and pull it in for today. And that's why you have a vicious bear market when they're finally done. Because the market's always pricing in the future. So that's why we got to use it to our advantage. That's what happens. That's what happens. By the way, just to let you know, Richard Hart did the same thing. He did the exact same thing with PulseChain. He knew it was going to take a long time. It didn't take 2 weeks. He got people to think it's coming in 2 weeks, but people who would have bought over the next 2 years to come and buy and sacrifice. And, you know, you might not like it, but you have to do what you have to do, friends. This is the game. You don't actually look. I know everybody says we want a leader who's just honest and who leads us the right way and is just all nice and cute and fluffy like this Peppy. You don't want that leader. You know why? Because you never vote for him. You'll think they're too weak. They don't tell you what you want to hear. They're not giving you a dopamine hit. You don't want that. They've already tried this with politics. The people who are too honest never make it. You literally never make it. if you were to communicate to people how tough things really are in terms of the blockages and how long things are going to take, they'll never do anything. Ever. They want the dude who comes in or the woman who says, this situation is going to be fixed 3 months. 3 days. Easy. We get in there, do some signatures, we're in. So, you got to take this message moving forward. It's a very important message. More PulseChain projects are releasing. We've got to use these to our strengths. Okay, so other people, remember the Bitcoin community, what they say, Satoshi's gone, we're still here. Your project will never survive without your founder. That's okay. That's if you want the upside, you have to deal with this. For example, does the commodity gold have a leader? No. Okay, well, enjoy gold returns. You see, founders and leaders, it's not, we think it's bad. Oh, centralization. No. It's someone who can direct the energy like a torpedo. Also, Mr. Humberto, he was mentioning, so during the time when this was posted, he goes, Richard wasn't streaming, but he never stopped working. That's an important part, right? So these are talking points to just tell other people. You don't even have to really believe in friends. It's just, this is what it is. For people to come, look, every time you talk to somebody who's a hater, they're actually a future buyer. They are. But they want to see strength. People who like to hate, they're actually throwing a stone. They're trying to see, does this thing crack? If it doesn't crack, they end up buying later on. Unfortunately, they buy the tops. They do. I promise you they do. Just don't hold your breath for them because it's going to be a while. A while ago as well, in September, I did this great poll and I never revisited it again. It was very interesting how neck and neck it was. So I just asked about the PulseChain sacrifice wallet, $600 million. What would you do it? So I said, hey, one option is just for everybody to think about. You could buy Ethereum with it. You'd get 350,000 Ethereum. And then you could distribute it out in a drip feed across the Pulse, PulseX, Hex, and Inc. yield farms. You could do that. That's just one alternative. It's just to get everybody thinking. And look, why is this? Okay, even if you're not in Pulse, PulseX, or Hex, let's say another coin, let's say in Chainlink, Ethereum, Bitcoin, I'd like you to know that many times, because people don't understand markets, they think if they have a pool of money and if you just buy the coin up or the asset up, what happens is they think you make a higher floor forever and everything is great from then on. And you just got to get everything to keep buying and buying and buying. Unfortunately, it's not enough. What happens is, so if you get the treasury, what happens is people will see that the treasury is being used. And when it goes up, they dump it back down until it gets bought, until it buys up again. And the treasury buys it up again and then they dump it back down. Buys it up and then they dump it back down. And then when the treasury's gone, guess what? Oh, there's no more treasury? Okay, we're going to zero. That's what happens. It's very unfortunate. But like, if I tell you this intuitively, you already knew this. Because if this is all that was required to make anything go up, then the government would be printing money and redirecting funds just to make everything go up infinitely. But they don't. And other companies, they will just be using their stock buybacks to infinitely push stuff up. They don't. It doesn't necessarily happen one for one. There's many times when you run out of the treasury, it's over. Okay, so it was neck and neck with this poll. Yes, buy the 350,000 ETH, 57%. No, 43%. So, fair enough. Most people would be like, of course, stay. I wouldn't touch anything. Wait until things are clear. It is what it is. But it's very interesting to know that most people, see, if it was that easy that you just create a new base floor every single time, it'd be great, isn't it? But also risks as well. There's risks with everything. So DAI, for example, holding DAI carries risk because DAI is backed by USDC. They could just freeze it tomorrow if they want. Also, holding DAI loses 5% purchasing power because you miss out on yield and they print money. Holding cash really sucks, man. Really sucks. So you're getting minus 3% of like the yield on average, and you're also getting minus 5% of the inflation. If you want to be like kind, just write minus 5%. That's how bad it is. Wow, you're missing out on yield and you get inflation. Whoa. That's why holding cash is really bad this decade. I don't care how low prices go, friends. I don't give a damn. I'm telling you, it's the wrong move. All right, I'm thinking 10 years out ahead. You're thinking 10 days, 10 hours, 10 minutes. You're thinking about the next tiny teddies that you want to eat because they're yummy biscuits, chocolate flavor. Also, the pain if you hold all the DAI. Imagine Ethereum does do like a 5x over the next 4 years. You'll be thinking, wow, that 600 million would have been 3 billion. We could do a lot with that. See what I mean? It's not so easy though. There are risks. You can't just go and buy staked Ethereum either because there's risk for that too. You know, so here's Mr. Briss. He goes through this scenario where he believes, you know, what if people buy into the chain and then the OA sold coins and sold everything over 10%? So he used this imaginary thought experiment, but here I am to explain to you. You can't just do this world where people buy and then a bigger institution dumps and it caps it over a level. What happens is, okay, I'll explain here, people would actually stop buying because you see a big dumper. So effectively what you're doing is you're appearing inside the book. Here are the bids. You're appearing as a huge iceberg offer. When people realize they can't go beyond that point, they actually stop and the price goes down the other way. This is you can see this actually intraday when big iceberg orders appear and there's hidden levels out there. And you can see this in like Bitcoin and Ethereum and the bigger coins when you're trading on like Binance, for example. Mr. E Exhausted Bear made this funny comment. Didn't know that was quite bullish, right? He thought it was a stunt on us. So he goes, I would buy the 350,000 ETH so that the Ethereum maxis can cash out on PulseChain sacrifices. But here I am saying like, Habib, okay. When we cash out though, Ethereum would be like $8,000. Not that we'd ever cash out, but you're turning 600 million to 3 billion. Otherwise, the whole industry goes to zero. I found them funny. It doesn't know, like, we are so small to add to their pile, but we have like a huge advantage if it goes up. Mr. PHUX says, I'd buy watches and clothes and then stop streaming. This is like a lot of likes as well because it's exactly what Richard did. And of course, here I am saying, I wish that kind of played out differently now looking back at it, considering the 99% drop. And then Mr. Nico says, he thinks burning all the coins is an option. People worship Satoshi despite him being anonymous. So I'm not sure if Nico knows the 600 million treasury, the DAI is like ammo. I think he was referring to the Pulse and PulseX tokens themselves. So I think it was just a bit of a misunderstanding here. So of course, I'll just personally leave the Pulse and PulseX tokens. Let the people who trade off market cap without doing their research, let them get screwed. Who cares? Then they're going to wonder why the number is infinitely big in the future. And then Mr. Davey Ann, who shares my thoughts, shout out to Davey, saying, Richard Hart always talked about how great Ethereum is. It's true. He always did. He goes, the origin address buying Ethereum to fuel the farm would be smart. Stake that Ethereum and then you only use the yield to pay people out. That would be absolutely huge if you'd be able to do it. See, Davey, because the yield is so small actually, and you'd want to distribute it over 15 years, you could give out more than the yield. So you could earn 3% yield of Ethereum and give out plus 5% of the principal, and it would still last you like 15 to 20 years. That's insane. With the yield, you're giving out heaps. And here I am to mention, I like that idea too, because I just assume if you're giving out people who are in the system who are holding the coins, they'll want to keep holding the coins. I know that's what I'll do. Like if you knew this thing was going to distribute over 10 years, then in your first 2 to 3 years, I would personally just say, I would just keep rotating into Pulse and PulseX. You create this positive flywheel and you have a community and you might say, well, isn't this like a Ponzi when it ends? Well, no, because you're staying around for 3, 5, 10 years. You're not leaving. You're basically locked in for a long time. That's a lot of promotion. That's a lot of telling your friends and family. That's a lot of building applications on the chain. So many positive things comes when everybody is committed for long term. Because remember, the community is the asset, not the code. So it was very interesting just to hear everybody's thoughts. And Mina ends with, I would rather hold Ethereum versus DAI, or maybe half ETH and half DAI. I think I agree with that. But of course, you know, it's better just to do nothing. It really is. And then we can figure out the situation later on. But, you know, just to get you to think about, I'll present this to you so you can think about liquidity and how things actually move and how the world isn't that so easy for us to go, oh, let's just get some money and then just make something go up, because the market's smart. The market will sell things down. But on the plus side, friends, on the plus side, this is the thing. If there's a community, like a cult, okay, for example, PulseChain, and the prices are going up, and everybody has a megaphone yelling and there's more applications being built, well, guess what? You don't even need a treasury. People are going to come in because they all want to get in through the door at the same time. That's how the parabola is formed, and also that's how our friendship is formed. Make sure you like, subscribe, press the bell button, and all. I'm going to catch you in the next one.